Hello, dear viewer, and welcome to another riveting episode of the Catholic League Forum. I'm Mike McDonald, Director of Communications at the Catholic League, and this is Bill Donohue, President and CEO of the Catholic League. And we're ready to go with the new year, new battles, Bill. We're already in the thick of it with today, January 6th. I know a lot of the secular media is talking about what happened last year, but in Catholic circles, this is also a very important day. Can you tell us why?
Right, yeah. In Catholic circles, this is the 20th anniversary of the Boston Globe series, which exposed the sexual abuse scandal in the Archdiocese of Boston. When it came out, I congratulated the Boston Globe, the Herald, the New York Times, because I thought at the time that what they're doing was a good muckraking job of putting the light on some of the dirt in the Catholic Church, which a lot of the problems we created were homegrown. Over a period of maybe 3 or 4 years, I began to realize that there's something else going on here. They don't want the scandal to end.
Right.
And as I pointed out in my new book, then it's clear we've made tremendous progress. We're down to 5.9 substantive accusations made against 50,000 members of the clergy. You can read about it in the Truth about clergy sexual abuse, and we've made tremendous progress. They don't want to acknowledge that in Boston or in New York or California or any place. It has nothing to do with the geographic area. And I think that when you hear the National Catholic Reporter, which is essentially an anti-Catholic newspaper, the favorite of the left, when they try to blame the sexual abuse scandal on Catholic Catholic moral theology, that somehow we're restrictive, well, yeah, you shouldn't be putting your hands on minors practicing adultery, fornication, sodomy, and the like. That's what the Catholic Church teaches. You don't become a predator because you accepted those ideas. You become a predator because you rejected your vows, including chastity, and that's what drove the scandal. So, yeah, we've made a lot of progress in 20 years. I only wish that the Catholic left and the left in general would acknowledge that progress, but they don't want the scandal to go away.
No.
For obvious reasons.
No, obviously they don't. They keep harping on this, and as you so masterfully lay out in your book, The Truth About Clergy Sexual Abuse, which we'll have a link to that in the bottom, but you can also find it on Amazon and Ignatius Press. So definitely be sure to check that out if you haven't already. And we also did a YouTube series last year on it as well. You can find that on our website as well. Our website is catholicleague.org, catholicleague.org. We'll have a link in the description below. But Bill, one of the things that I found really interesting in the piece that you wrote about this week, taking stock on all this, this was something that was actually kind of interesting that it would first blow up in Boston because Massachusetts is a much more liberal state than the rest of the country.
Well, back in the 1970s, Boston was the epicenter of the gay revolution in this country. That was where they founded NAMBLA, the idea that it's okay to a man to have sex with a boy. And Paul Shanley, one of the greatest predators in the Catholic Church, a notorious homosexual. They're all homosexuals. Almost none of them are pedophiles. That's another lie that's been told by the left. He was at the first meeting of NAMBLA and at Dignity, which is the Catholic pro-gay group. So, yeah, don't forget, Boston is a college town. College towns tend to be on the left. But Paul Shanley, the predator, was celebrated not only by the Catholic left, but by the secular left. He was the darling, the hippie priest. So they liked the idea of him being a rebel against the church's teachings. That's what led to the clergy sexual abuse scandal.
Right.
So the left is largely to blame for the scandal, which they claim to bemoan. It's a joke.
Yeah, it's not good, and they just will not let us off the hook. But we also had other things going on this week, too. You had a couple of good pieces out this week taking a look at racism and how it's evolving in the United States. Can you explain to us why this is becoming such a big problem these days?
It is because critical race theory teaches that if you're white, you're a racist, and if you are black, you can't be a racist. That idea, of course, is racist.
Right.
Racism has nothing to do with pigmentation or what particular group that you belong to. It has everything to do with ideas of prejudice, discrimination, and the like. And what's going on today is that it's fashionable in many quarters to beat up on white people. Celebrities do it all the time. A lot of people with PhDs, as we've detailed, like to do it. But even more pernicious than that, Mike, is this whole idea that you coming from the government, the federal government does it, the Biden administration, that when they give out loans to businesses affected by COVID, farmers and the like, if you're white, you're in last place.
Yeah.
You go to the back of the line. Now, if they did that to others, people would claim it's racism. It's racist either way. In New York City, the same thing is true in terms of COVID and the like, and getting any kind of amenities. the people in last place are whites, and they're actually saying this. This is not an interpretation of mine.
No.
This is the actual government policy. Their argument is that blacks and Hispanics are more likely to get COVID, therefore they should get the treatment. Well, one of the reasons why they're more likely to get COVID is because more of them are obese than are white people, and obesity is directly tied to COVID. Now, that's not because of racism. That's a volitional outcome. People choose, in most cases, if they're overweight or underweight. So, the idea that it should be okay to beat up on anybody because of their ethnicity, their sexual orientation, I'll put in, their religious affiliation, no matter what it is, because of one's status, that's simply wrong. But this is fashionable today in amongst the ruling class to beat up on white people.
And that's another big part of it as well. It's not just white people that are the focus of a lot of the attacks that you see coming from the elites, whether they're in government, corporations, the media. It's also focusing in particularly on Christians. I'm sure everyone's heard all this week about January 6th that this was a white Christian nationalist event.
Yeah, I mean, then not only the left goes after white people, but they go after Christians in particular, and they have a particular animus against men. So if you happen to be a white guy in this country and you're a Christian, which is a lot of people, good swath of the population, somehow you became the devil. This kind of demonization is wrong no matter what group that we do. You make decisions based on an individual's behavior. Right. Be careful about collectivizing guilt. It's wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just one more story I think we should really highlight. So, Jesuit priest, former chaplain, Father Conroy, was given an interview with the Washington Post this week, and he justified abortion. Can you talk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, this is amazing. It's not the first Jesuit to do so. They usually are Jesuits. And it's interesting. He was the House Chaplain for about a decade. I helped get the first Catholic priest, Daniel Coughlin, his job by fighting against Catholics and evangelicals who didn't want him to get it because he was considered to be too liberal. We're only concerned here about the Catholic League as to whether or not anti-Catholicism involved. So Conroy takes over as the House Chaplain. Okay, fine. Now he's retired from that. He's working at Gonzaga U. And he gives an interview to Michelle Borstein at the Washington Post where he says that choice is fine. Everybody's against any limitation on choice. And that should apply to a woman seeking an abortion. Well, there are all kinds of limitations on people's choices today. Lockdowns are taking place at Princeton and Yale. You can't leave the school, the perimeters, the county. You can't go into New Haven to get a slice of pizza because the police state is in charge. And the rebel students are ever so compliant and obedient and obsequious. They don't object to that. They object if somebody takes away their birth control pill. They don't reject the idea that you can't leave the campus. Now, look, abortion is really the killing of innocence. Yeah. And everybody knows that. Science agrees with the Catholic Church. Catholic Church doesn't agree with science. Science agrees with the Catholic Church that life begins at conception. Now, for someone to say, particularly a priest, that it's just a matter of choice and we should support that, remember, choice is not a moral construct. It doesn't have any moral latent to it unless it has an object. What do you choose to do? To put a knife into a person to save him with a scalpel as a surgeon? That's a good thing. To put a knife into someone to take his life? That's a bad thing. We want to know what the choice is. If the choice is to take the life of an innocent unborn child, that is morally wrong. And for Father Conroy to invoke Aquinas shows you how badly educated the man is as well. It's all up on our website. I explained it in greater detail. But we will not play favorites here at the Catholic League. Abortion is morally wrong, and if people don't realize that, then maybe they should pick up a biology textbook.
Yeah, absolutely. So, especially on this last story we're talking about here, dear viewer, if you would like to get involved on it, do check out our website. We'll have a link in the description below, but do check out CatholicLeague.org. We also have contact information for the individuals involved, as we generally try to do on some of these more targeted pieces to help you get involved, to help us, and really bring this about. Thank you for watching today, but as always, if you could give this video a like and make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.